I got them in. I've been playing a lot of basketball in them, so we will be going to the gym a little bit later in this video to give you guys a performance review, but let's just knock out the visuals and the aesthetics out of the way. And the Kyrie 4 is really interesting in this respect because it's either a hate it or like it sneaker. You don't hate it or love it. People seem to really hate this sneaker or they just like how it looks. At least that's what I'm getting from all of my Instagram posts and the word from the community. I myself am more on the like it side of things, and I'll tell you why. This teeth design, which a lot of people don't like, I actually really dig it on the medial and lateral side. As you can see, the traction not only wraps up onto the midsole, but it actually goes so high onto the upper, and this actually kind of reminds me of an old 90s basketball sneaker, kind of like a Charles Barkley silhouette. That black and white contrast, you guys already know I'm absolutely loving it. It really gives me a blast from the past. It's like a throwback. But another reason why I'm liking this sneaker, the way it looks at least, is because of the layers. That's right, this shoe actually has layers, and this is something that's been missing in basketball sneakers in my opinion, because back in the day, basketball shoes had layers. It was like clockwork. That's just the way it was. But now you're getting a lot of one-piece uppers, a lot of fuse, a lot of that plastic. The Kyrie 4, however, not only has a mesh toe box, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but it also has these synthetic suede or nubuck, whatever they are, panels. It feels like suede here in the heel, and you also got one, and my favorite spot, the toe box. This actually gives the Kyrie 4 a really nice look, a throwback look in my opinion, and you guys know I'm digging it. Not only does it look good, but it also serves a purpose if you do a lot of toe drag, even outdoors. Even on the hardwood, this area is going to protect the materials from ripping from the midsole. So not only does it look good, but it serves a purpose as well. Now, if you move more towards the back of the sneaker, obviously you have this huge suede panel in the collar and the heel. And then the back of the heel, you have a hint of synthetic leather. This just adds yet another layer to the Kyrie 4, which is pretty awesome because it's kind of a throwback sneaker, which is surprising because the Kyrie 3, 2, and 1 really weren't. They're very much new age sneakers with a lot of fuse and not a lot of layering. So the Kyrie 4 I'm absolutely digging in that respect, but everything else I'm just kind of on. The overall shape, I don't know, it kind of reminded me of a GS sneaker. You know how like the grade school sneakers don't look quite as refined as the adult size sneakers? That's what the Kyrie 4 kind of looks like to me. But overall, I would give these on a visual grade scale about a B-. I think it looks pretty good, but there's definitely room for improvement, and it's not just average. I think that this really lets the Kyrie 4 stand out, this teeth design on the midsole, and I'm really liking the layering, like I said. So B- visual wise. So now that we got all of that stuff out of the way, let's go head to the gym and give you guys a little performance review on the Kyrie 4.
Say again, Houston. Roger, we'd like to get both of you in the field of view of the cam.
What's going on, guys? It's Gym Ron Mom. We're out here, we're in the gym, we're getting our runs in with the Kyrie 4s, and we're having a lot of fun because this is a pretty solid encore performer, and I'm about to tell you why. So let's get things started with the traction. This traction actually worked really good for me while I was playing in them, but when I went back to the studio and I took a look at some of the footage, I realized that I was slipping quite a bit. So I don't know what to make of that. Obviously, slipping is a huge sign of lackluster traction, but I didn't really notice it during use. So I'm gonna say the traction was pretty solid. I will say, however, I did have to wipe pretty much every chance I got. So if you're playing on really dingy floors with a lot of dust, you're gonna have to wipe pretty much every chance you get. As for the wrap-up traction that goes up onto the midsole and a little bit on the upper on both the lateral and the medial sides, this is a fantastic feature if you're a 4-foot heavy, herky-jerky type of player like Kyrie, because as you move side to side with your quick changes in direction, these traction teeth, which is what I'm calling them, will keep your foot snapped onto the floor and prevent slipping, allowing you to execute your moves without interruption. Guys, this is not a gimmick. It actually works. Next up is the cushion, and this is the area where Nike made the most improvement from the 3 to the 4 in my opinion, because this time around, not only did they bring back Zoom Air in the heel, but they've also added Cushlon in the forefoot. Now, if you're not familiar with Cushlon, it's still a low to the ground responsive setup, but it does offer some decent impact protection. Not a lot of bounce, but there is impact protection. And in my opinion, it's 1,000 times better than what was used in the Kyrie 3, which was honestly Nothing. As for the zoom unit in the heel, look guys, it's great that it's there. It does its job, but I rarely strike with my heel. So I was mainly using that Cushlant in the forefoot. And in my opinion, zoom would have been a better option here, but that's just personal preference for me. I like a little bit more bounce and a little more pep in my step. But what Nike uses here is perfectly fine. It gets the job done, and it's definitely an upgrade than what was used on previous Kyrie models. Next, let's talk about the materials. And I already talked about my absolute love for these suede panels back at the studio. So let's talk about this mesh forefoot, which is honestly pretty disappointing because it's backed by what seems like fuse. It may be nylon, whatever it is, it doesn't allow the mesh to be mesh. It's not as soft, open, and free-flowing as it should be, and that led to some fit problems in this area. Now, the length of the Kyrie 4 and the width was absolutely perfect, but I did experience a little bit of dead space in the toe box area on the top of my foot and a little bit on the sides as well. This forced me to tie up the laces extra tight right here in the collar area so my foot wouldn't slam into the front of the sneaker and my toes wouldn't hit the toe box, because like I said, the fit in this area is a little bit sloppy. But aside from that, the fit with the Kyrie 4s is absolutely great, just as long as you go true to size, which is what I did. And aside from that toe box, I thought the Kyrie 4s fit like a glove. So the last thing we're gonna talk about is the support, and this is honestly my favorite feature on the Kyrie 4s because Nike brought back that rounded outsole design that the Kyrie line has become known for, but this time around it's not as exaggerated, especially in the forefoot, and the result is a buttery smooth heel to toe transition while maintaining stability. If you're someone who's shifty and changes direction very often, I'm telling you guys, you're absolutely going to love these. The Kyrie 4s are second to none in this regard. As for the rest of the setup, we already talked about those traction teeth that help you stay on your feet during those intense lateral movements, but there's also 2 flywire strands on both the lateral and medial side in the forefoot. But to be completely honest with you, you could have told me that they weren't there at all because I did not notice them, because like I said earlier, the fit in the toe box was a little sloppy. So to wrap things up, the Kyrie 4s, I had a lot of fun in these guys. These made me feel like Kyrie, like Uncle Drew, and I guess that's the point of a signature model. You want to play and feel like the player that the shoe is made for, and that's exactly what these had to offer. If you're a guy who likes Kyrie or plays like Kyrie, I highly suggest picking these up. But there are some better options out there for a little bit lower price points and a little bit higher as well. But at $120, the Kyrie 4 has extreme value. If I had to give it a letter grade, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a B+. It's not quite elite, but it's right there on the line, and that value certainly helps it out. Had the fit in the forefoot been a little bit more refined and the materials, the mesh material had been more open and free flowing, this would have been an elite sneaker hands down. But as they said right now, I'm gonna give it a B+. So that's what I think about the Kyrie 4 performance-wise. Let's head back to the studio and wrap this review up. So there you guys have it. That's what I think about the Kyrie 4 performance-wise. I think that if you're a fan of the Kyrie line and you've been playing in the 1, 2, and 3, you're absolutely gonna love these because in my opinion, this is the best entry in the Kyrie Irving signature line. The Kyrie 4s hands down better than the 1, 2, and the 3. If you're not a fan of the Kyrie line and you're a wide footer, there's better options out there, guys. For a little bit less money and even for a little bit more money, it's worth it to get something a little bit better than these. But if you do end up picking these up, because they are $120 and that is a reasonable price, I do think you're gonna be happy with how they perform and even how they look. But I'm just saying there are better options out there. So overall, the Kyrie 4, I'm gonna have to give a letter grade of a B. It's not average, it's solid, but it's not fantastic. I almost gave it a B+, I really did, but the fit in the forefoot, the traction, and the cushioning could have been a little bit better, and the overall shape could have looked more refined. But like I said earlier, those materials, the visuals, at least on this color blocking end, and I really like that transition. It was buttery smooth. That led me to give the Kyrie 4 a letter grade of B. So if you guys have any more questions about the Kyrie 4, let me know in the comment section below. I'll answer you as fast as I can. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. That helps me out a lot. Subscribe to this channel for more great content and reviews just like this. My name's Darren. I'll catch you in the next one.